Oh, it's another insurrection update, Jennifer. I'm going to go ahead and start because I've actually been talking a lot. And the first insurrection update that we're starting with is a short one. And then I'll give you the next one because there's a lot to unpack on that one.
Yeah.
So we do have some breaking news. It wasn't breaking news on Sunday. It is breaking news, though it became breaking news on Monday. So Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene, who basically became a congresswoman by default. There was no opponent running against her because the Democratic opponent running against her withdrew because they were getting so many death threats and were having incidents with their family and at their home. So they actually withdrew out of that race in Georgia out of fear. Way to go, Q disciples. She is deep down the Q rabbit hole. And how deep is it? She's so deep down the Q rabbit hole that Twitter suspended her account. And she ranted and raved about that. But Jennifer, once again, it's amazing, right? Just like her on the issue of the mask. You can't make me wear a mask. And we saw her after the insurrection wearing a mask. She took down a whole bunch of offending tweets to get back up and running on Twitter. And so the breaking news is that she is back up on Twitter again. I have a feeling that's going to be short-lived.
Yeah, absolutely. Was she the one wearing the censored mask?
Yes.
While she's standing there talking?
Yes.
While
she's standing there talking on the floor of Congress, wearing a...
On TV. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
They're censoring her! I saw it on TV! She was talking, telling me all about it.
Exactly.
Okay. Woo! All right, tell us about what else we got here on the insurrection update.
Oh, my favorite rep from Colorado, Lauren Boebert, the poster the poster child for stay in school kids. Her communications director ungodly quit just after 2 weeks. There are multiple accusations that Boebert's mother took part in the Capitol insurrection, something Boebert denies, but her mother was indeed at the Capitol on 1/6. Over 60 lawmakers in Boebert's district have called for her resignation for her potential involvement in the insurrection. And she's been blocking people on her private Twitter account despite tweeting information about official government purposes. Of course, this is a 1A violation, and President Trump, almost former President Trump, ran into a similar issue when he tried to block people on a platform where he tweeted out official government information. Rep Steve Cohen of Tennessee, Democrat, is now stating, quote, "We saw Congressman Boebert taking a large group on a tour of the Capitol between 1/4 and 1/6, end quote. Tours were ceased due to COVID-19, and there's no evidence that anyone in the tour participated in the insurrection. I would like to point out one more thing. She did some crazy things on her Twitter earlier this week where she accused another representative of saying that she was the one leading the tours when he in fact did not say that. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But she pretty much outed herself in those tweets. So whatever happens to her is on her little gun-toting hands.
She is another one that is just so far down the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
And I think in her case in particular, she is more a poster child of gerrymandering. In the case of Marjorie Greene, I don't know why more people were not outraged that her opponent dropped out of that race because of threats against their life. I mean, this is Russia. This is Nicaragua. This is Brazil. This shit isn't supposed to happen in the United States, but it does because greatness.
It is. Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that'll be an interesting to watch. Hey, there we go. That'll be an interesting one to watch. Jennifer, there's been a whole bunch of arrests since we were on Thursday. And now what I'm starting to see is more and more people that are kind of getting in front of cameras, because remember, they're censored. That's why they can get in front of,
Yes.
the mainstream media and go, I really regret what I did that day. I mean, I know that video's out there, but that's when I said death to America and overthrow the government, that's not what I really meant. When I punched that police officer, I was actually helping him.
Yes, yes.
And my other favorite one is, the FBI talked to me, but nobody's come by. It's because they're writing your warrant, dummy.
Yeah.
So we're up to over 125 arrested so far. FBI says up to 270 additional investigations ongoing. That investigation number keeps getting bigger and bigger. Let's go over some of these. Jenny Cudd of Texas.
Oh, God. Okay.
She was with a group of people that bragged online about breaking down the door to Pelosi's office. She then deleted the video because clearly then it didn't happen. And she's upset that her flower shop that she's owned has been bombarded with 1-star reviews.
Oh, that's very sad. Very, very sad for her.
Derrik Evans, he was the 35-year-old lawmaker out of West Virginia. He was one of the first people identified on January 6th. He streamed himself charging the Capitol. He was unapologetic. He's like, I'm not going to resign. There were bipartisan calls for his resignation out of the state of West Virginia. He was arrested on 2 riot-related charges and then resigned after he was arrested on those 2 related charges.
It's always shocking that, consequences have actions.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Baked Alaska. Tim Gionet, I don't know, Gionet, I don't know. How do you say that, Malcontent? Put it up in the comments. It's Tim Gionet, a.k.a. Baked Alaska. He videoed himself like all through the Capitol doing all sorts of shit. And not only that, he essentially doxed a whole bunch of his compatriots while he was friggin' in there streaming. Like going, hey, Dave Jones, smile for the camera. What do you think, man? Is this cool or what? There was even one person who was like, dude, why did you just say my friggin' name? Anyway, he's been arrested.
I'm trying not to laugh, but the stupidity is pretty funny.
They're afraid of microchips. They're not afraid of GPS.
Yes, exactly.
Jack Jesse Griffith, Tennessee. He was arrested after an informant identified him as a man known as Juan Bibiano. What is it with the Chuds and adopting Hispanic names?
I have no idea. I've been trying to figure that out historically myself. Why do they see themselves as conquistadores? What is the MO behind that? Is it so that they can say that it's not white supremacy because I have this Hispanic name? Right. I don't know. It's been I've been racking my brain trying to figure it out.
I ain't Hispanic. My name's Juan. No, your name is Jack. It's like when you call customer service and you get somebody, it's like, hi, my name is Steve. And it's like, your name is not Steve. Right? Let's just get that really clear, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not hung up on the fact if your name is Kipchoge if you're going to solve my problem, all right?
Exactly.
Emily Hernandez of Missouri was seen holding parts of Nancy Pelosi's office sign on video. She's been charged with 5 criminal counts, also filled with regret.
Of course.
Here's my favorite, Jennifer. This one's my favorite. Jenna Ryan of Texas. She flew in a private jet to the insurrection. Jennifer, this story just gets more friggin' insane. She flew to the insurrection in a private jet because a quote-unquote really cute guy invited me to go. And now I'm going to paraphrase, she was hoping to be able to hook up with him. Jenna did not make a match in her being a terrorist, domestic terrorist on the 6th. Jenna, unfortunately, for her, the dude hooked up with another chick. Forgive me using the word chick. She filmed her before, during, and after, and I don't know any attorney that would touch her with a 10-foot pole because she's talking to any camera, even though they're censored. She is talking to literally any camera the media is putting in her face unapologetically. And best of all, she had the cojones to ask Donald Trump for a pardon.
Oh, Jenna, sweetheart, have you not heard of Tinder? You can set the radius so you don't have to go like 5 miles outside of your, home area. Flying on a private jet to join in an insurrection to hook up with a cute guy. There are cute guys everywhere. That was like the worst use of common sense I've seen related to trying to hook up with someone in a very long time.
It's just really stunning. Robert Sanford of Chester, Pennsylvania, retired firefighter who decided to throw a fire extinguisher down onto 3 police officers, striking, or a group of police officers. He struck 3, including one who didn't have a helmet. This is not Officer Sicknick. This is other officers. This is why I say, it wasn't Antifa, because if it was Antifa, they would have been throwing soup cans and then saying it was for their family. But anyway, and of course this also raises the other question for Robert Sanford. Where exactly did the fire extinguisher come from? Because I'm not aware of fire extinguishers being part of bug out bags or riot bags, whatever you want to call it. The other thing that's been revealed, Robert Sanford was bused for free to Washington, D.C. The projection from the right is amazing. So are we to understand that Robert is actually Antifa along with all of these other people? It's like the most amazing double cross ever.
Yeah.
They also found white nationalist items in his home because we know how Antifa loves the Proud Boys and Nazis and white nationalists.
Confederate flags. Yeah.
Sergeant Timothy L. Hale-Cusanelli. Sergeant Timothy L. Hale-Cusanelli of the U.S. Army Reserve was arrested on 2 criminal charges for his involvement in the insurrection. He's an avowed white nationalist and a Nazi sympathizer. He was in human resources for the U.S. Army.
I just, when they call them sympathizers, why don't you just call them Nazis? Because how can you sympathize with a Nazi without being one?
Could you imagine, this dude is your HR supervisor coming into the office? Heil Hitler! What? Oh, no, it's just a test. Sit down. You're good.
Yeah.
You passed. Just let me write a note here. Not down with Hitler.
And it reminds me of that Arthur Miller play Focus.
We have an inclusive HR department.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At the U.S. Army. Daniel A. Baker. He is a former soldier who went AWOL in 2007. He joined the YPG, so he joined with the Kurds in Syria in 2017. He was arrested for issuing a call to arms to confront Trump supporters in Tallahassee, Florida this week. Baker posted flyers on 114 with the call to arms. He was not involved in any way with the 1-6 insurrection, but domestic terrorism is domestic terrorism. And now the Chuds, I gotta play the clip.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
You don't tell all the stories. Yes, we do. One more malcontent. Lisa Eisenhart, the mother of Eric Muchel. Eric Muchel was the dude with the jumping over the chairs all in black with the zip tie handcuffs. She has been arrested for conspiracy charged to violate federal law with her son. They are both facing conspiracy theory charges now. What I suspect is for Lisa, that's a charge to hold her in place. I'm thinking those two, we're going to see much more serious charges come.
Yeah. Can I just say, Lisa, it's, maybe it's time to cut the umbilical cord, let your son go, something.
She's like Betty on 90 Days Fiancé. Is anybody watching 90 Days Fiancé? Does anybody else just want to punch Betty face in as you're watching that this season?
I I have not watched it at all.
What's that?
I have never seen it.
Oh my God. It's such an amazing train wreck. It is such an amazing train wreck. And this woman, Betty, this woman, because you said helicopter mom. This woman, Betty, is the mother of one of the people in the show. And she is just an awful human being. All right, Jennifer, take it away on the impeachment update. It's so much on this.
Impeachment. So, not one, but two. Impeachment number two. His trial will actually start in the Senate on 120, and at this time he doesn't have any legal representation because Rudy came out with a bunch of rambling, incoherent stuff about him potentially being a witness, blah, blah, blah. Also, Trump didn't want to pay him, so who knows what's going to happen there. There were also some other statements made today by other lawyers that had represented him in the past about how they were no longer working for him, but were happy to serve or work with him during his time in office. So that's not voting well for him. Rudy Giuliani, of course, we just mentioned, said he was on the team on Saturday. The Trump team denied it on Saturday night. Rudy then stated he would have a role on Sunday morning, and then on Sunday night stated he can't be on the team, of course, because he could be called as a witness. And he basically faces his own legal jeopardy for his 1-6 comments about trial by combat and a string of phone calls while the insurrection was going on, looking to delay the certification. Hey, if you survive this, do you think maybe you could object to the votes? Kamala Harris resigned her Senate seat on Monday. Alex Padilla was served the last 2 years of Ms. Harris's term and is the first Latino senator from California. He should be sworn in to the Senate on Tuesday, along with John Ossoff of Georgia.
And effectively giving control of the Senate for one day to Mitch McConnell. Still, because it'll be 50-50 and Mitch McConnell for one day.
He better savor it.
There was a comment from Mike Racing Fan. Mike, first of all, I haven't seen your name ever in the comments. Thank you for joining us. That's number one. There was on the Q shaman who was in jail. It is a misunderstanding of the interpretation of what the court said about him getting his organic meals. The court basically did not say you have to feed him organic meals. And the word is he's not getting organic meals.
Good.
We're here to overthrow the government. I want my organic meal. And they call Antifa
consequences
snowflakes.
For actions, people. Mm-hmm.
And Rudy. It's just like, why does Rudy not have anybody in his orbit saving him? Sidney Powell figured out when to shut up because she's disappeared. Mm-hmm. Lynn Wood has figured out when to shut up.
Yeah. I think he's just in so deep now. He's like, I might as well just ride this shit show out. What else have I got to do?
He's like Slim Pickens in Doctor Strangelove, riding the nuclear bomb. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, we got the next one. By the way, Malcontent, just
would it be great if
you love our mods, we haven't said this in a while. Spam those hearts. Yeah, it messes with the algorithm and it helps boost us up. And of course, we want to boost the signal. But our mods and admins, they work for free. And they have to read some really awful stuff. So Jennifer and I don't have to read it, and you don't have to see it on the screen. And so with that said, please go ahead and spam those hearts. Let those mods and admins know you love them. If you're on Twitch or if you're on YouTube, you could just go like, thank you mods, love you admins, whatever, or just put a string of hearts. They love that shit. And I know I love it too. All right, Jennifer, I got one for you. Resignations. Health and Human Service Secretary Alex Azar resigns. In his letter to Donald Trump, apparently, he blasts Donald Trump because he says that Donald Trump has stained his legacy. One of the things I want to call out hypocrite Alex Azar is he basically went, oh yeah, the national stockpile for COVID vaccines? Yeah, that doesn't exist. There isn't any. Oh, and by the way, I quit.
Yeah, But wasn't he also on Fox News this morning talking about how Biden was going to, use this to tout his success in COVID that he shouldn't be touting? He was on there spouting some crazy stuff this morning that I happened to catch, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Doesn't he know he can't go on Fox News because now the Chudds...
Chud. Cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers.
They're going to hate him for going on Fox. He should have gone on OWN or Newsmax.
Oh, good old Newsmax. Okay.
All right. You've got some stuff on investigations and ongoing security issues.
Oh, yes. So the American Thinker, a conservative blog, apologized and issued a full retraction of the false claims it made about Dominion voting systems and election impropriety, stating the story had no basis in fact. That's a big shock, huh? Michael Lindell, the My Pillow man, could be facing
he's the My Pillow dude.
Yep. For spreading misinformation about election fraud. And so I was reading something this evening that he was like, bring it on. He was going to turn his cap around and go all bro. Maybe have a pillow fight. I don't know. So, yeah, that's where we are. The Dominion voting systems and election impropriety story had no basis in fact. And the pillow dude is getting sued potentially by Dominion, and was like, let's go, because I don't know what his defense is going to be, but whatever. I'm willing to sit and hear it out just for entertainment.
Well, one thing's for sure, he can't say that he heard it on Fox News, read it on American Thinker, or Linwood told him.
Yes.
No longer valid defenses. Why don't you go ahead and take the police, fire, EMS fallout?
All right.
Seriously, Malcontent, this is all since Friday morning.
9 pages of notes, people, 9. So we have 2 Rocky Mountain police officers from Virginia who were arrested for their involvement in the insurrection. Jacob Fracker, and where do these names come from? Okay, and Thomas Robertson posted inside the Capitol because, apparently when you're in the midst of an insurrection trying to overthrow the government, you need to take a couple selfies and post on social media. Jacob Fracker on Facebook bragged about his exploits, also super smart. And Fracker is a K9 officer. Oh, God. And Robertson is a sergeant. Wow. Virginia's got some police problems too, huh?
Woof, woof.
Yeah.
And of course, the question is, were there law enforcement officers in a state like Virginia? How much bias and service have they done with the black community?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
I'm sure they didn't do any bias policing at any time in their career, and that they looked at things with a very clear, clean lens.
I'd wink, but I'm terrible at it, and it would look like I'm just blinking. So.
I don't know if they would see it because you're dropping frames. Malcontent, we're aware that she's dropping frames. We actually tried to troubleshoot it before it went the air, and we got it like a little better. I think it actually is, but it's not where we want to be. And we're going to have some solution for Thursday. That's the bottom line. Unless we're in full-on insurrection, civil war, and then at that point, you're just going to have to see her faces. We're like, and we're into our 37th hour of coverage, and we're waiting for the government to shut the stream down at any moment.
I'm going to snort some coffee grounds so we can keep going.
Let's see, what do we got, Kate? Okay. A man who's bid to become a police officer was ejected after he scored too high on it. What? This is in the comments. He scored too high on an intelligence test. And he lost his appeal of a federal lawsuit against the city. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New York upheld a lower court's decision that the city did not discriminate against Robert Jordan because the same standards were applied to everyone who took the test. Can we get a link for that? Because it is like so hard to believe. You're too smart to be a police officer.
Well, judging by SPD's behavior, that's maybe one of their benchmark criteria.
Oh, no, they just put the link up. And it is from one of our mods and admins. So there you go. Wow. All right, Malcontents. Jennifer,
Wow.
thank you for the insurrection update.